This film is brought to you by 4-H, America's largest youth development organization, in collaboration with Montana State University and TERRA.
The Hudson River used to be a very disgusting and dirty river. I know a lot of pollution in it.
They say that if you came down to the river 40 years ago, you'd have to hold your nose because it smelled so bad.
You can't eat the fish because they contain PCBs.
Basically, when you flush your toilet, it would go straight into the river. Pete Seeger, the folk musician, and a couple of his friends wanted to change that, and the way they changed it was plank by plank, building this incredible ship.
We're all on the Clearwater ship, and we're learning how to operate a boat.
Sailing up my dirty stream, still I love it, and I'll keep the dream that someday, though maybe not this year, my Hudson River will once again run clear. It starts high in the mountains of the north, crystal clear and icy trickles forth. Just one floating wrapper of chewing gum, dropped by some hikers to warn of things to come.
Pete Seeger and some of his friends got together and they built this ship that you guys are on. And the idea of the Clearwater was to get young people and old people and people from all over the world out on the river and then start to care about it. And then once you care about it, you want to keep it clean. You want to be able to eat the fish. You want to be able to swim in it every morning.
We're also learning about water pollution and different subjects like ecology and resources and all that.
1, 2, 3, and go. Just drop it.
There are two different sources of pollution. One is point source pollution, where you can actually point to the source, where you see a pipe coming out of a factory.
This is an activity called Hudson River in a Jar, and I'm gonna need a whole bunch of help.
Oh my God!
She's worse than me.
Throw it in there. How's this look?
It's kind of cloudy.
I wouldn't drink it. I wouldn't drink it either, but it's pretty clean. It's not too bad, right? But there was a time when people would use the Hudson River, like the people living along the river would use the river just as a dumping ground, basically. So there's different types of pollution that go into the Hudson River. When things like oil, like from your car or from whatever, get onto the pavement in the Hudson Valley, everything washes right into the river, right? And pour some oil in here. Let's see what the oil does when it washes from...
All of it or some?
You can pour it all.
It flows to the top. I just think you're swimming really well.
Yeah. So when Pete Seeger was young, he'd come down to the river when he wanted to swim, and he'd take a big rock, and he'd chuck it in the water so that all the oil and stuff would spread away from that one spot so he could jump in and swim.
Oh, wow.
And then we got PCBs. You guys know anything about PCBs? Factories were dumping these polychlorinated biphenyls straight into the river. Before it was illegal. We were talking about PCBs earlier when we were talking about whether or not you can eat the fish, because look what PCBs do.
They're like syrup. What is that though, really?
Oh, you do.
Where did it go?
At the bottom.
Yeah, it sunk all the way down to the bottom.
Oh, so it's one on top and one on the bottom.
Yeah, so we're... All right, so there was a time when people didn't even treat their sewage before they put it in the river.
Oh, that's nasty.
So the river did look like this for a while. Clearwater and a bunch of other organizations have done a lot for the river so that now we can do things like swim in it.
So now, instead of point source pollution from factories and things like that, we're more concerned with non-point source pollution, a pollution that comes from the Hudson River's watershed.
Things like pesticides put on a farm field or fertilizers put on someone's lawn.
Basically, a watershed is like a bowl. Okay, so imagine the water in the middle of the bowl is the Hudson River. And then, up around the sides are all the mountains up around the Hudson. There's Mount Beacon and the Catskills and things like that.
So what you guys are right now is, see that shore over there?
Yeah.
That's what you guys are. What I am in between you guys is, this is the river right here. I'm in the Hudson. All together, we make the watershed.
And so when it rains in the Hudson Valley, the rainwater washes down and ends up in the Hudson River, right?
So if I'm over here, like, see over there at the top of that really nice houses?
Yeah,
I'm sure
really
they've got a
nice.
really pretty lawn over there, right? Like, it probably looks like a golf course. So I'm gonna put a bunch of fertilizer on my lawn.
You got cow dung.
And cow junk. Where's that fertilizer ending up, you guys?
In the river.
On her
In the
feet.
river.
Non-point source pollution can also come from things that you put down your drains at home, your sinks, your toilets, your showers, and that eventually ends up in the water treatment plant. But the water treatment plant can only clean so much, they can't get everything out. So, there's still chemical traces, pesticide traces, antibiotics, all sorts of pharmaceuticals still make their way into the river.
So you should be careful of what you flush down a toilet or put down a drain or leave on the ground somewhere. Yeah, it's gonna end up affecting the environment in some way.
I think I get where this is going.
Yeah, where's it going?
That anything that you put in your grass is gonna end up in the river, whether you mean for it to or not.
Right. And that's terrible, right?
Yes.
Like, the people over there, do you think they're thinking about that?
No. I didn't realize how much stuff actually runs down into the river. Like, I knew that it did, but I didn't realize to what extent.
Fresh, clean water. It's gonna go right off of you. It's flowing down and into the river.
No matter where you pollute, it's going to end up in the river somehow, some way.
If you were to look at a topographical map and find which way the water would drain from your home, you could find what the basin is, what the river is, and what watershed you're in. Even if they're at the top of the mountain, they come down the watershed. These pesticides, where are they ending up? Where are the pesticides ending up?
Get all of it.
Where'd they end up?
In the river!
Yeah.
What are other options other than using pesticides?
Have you heard of organic foods?
Yes.
What does that mean, organic foods?
That they don't use pesticides.
Yeah. And that's good for you and it's good for the river.
That's true.
You know why?
Because it doesn't have all that stuff. You're not putting all that pesticides and stuff in your body.
Yeah.
Oh, wet.
Sailing up my dirty stream, still I love it, and I'll keep the dream that someday, though maybe not this year, my Hudson River will once again run clear. It starts high in the mountains of the north, crystal clear and icy trickles forth. Just one floating wrapper of chewing gum, dropped by some hikers to warn of things to come. Sailing up my dirty stream, still I love it, and I'll keep the dream that someday, though maybe not this year, my Hudson River will once again run clear. At Hudson Falls, 5,000 honest hands working day.
This film is brought to you by 4-H, America's largest youth development organization, in collaboration with Montana State University and TERRA.